In perfect darkness, the sound of breathing is
I brought some peanuts.
What?
If you've never been through a matter transference beam before, you've probably lost some salt and protein. The beer you had should have cushioned your system a little bit. How are you feeling?
Like a military academy. Bits of me keep on passing out. If I asked you where the hell we were, would I regret it?
We're safe.
Oh, good.
We're in a small galley cabin in one of the spaceships of the Vogon constructor fleet.
Aha, this is obviously some strange usage of the word safe that I wasn't previously aware of.
I'll have a look for the light.
All right. How did we get here?
We hitched a lift.
Excuse me, are you trying to tell me that we just stuck out our thumbs and some bug-eyed monster stuck his head out and said, "Hey fellows, hop right in, I can take you as far as the Bessingstoke roundabout"?
Well, the thumb's an electronic sub-ether device. The roundabout's at Bernard Star, about 6 light years away. But otherwise, that's more or less right.
And the bug-eyed monster?
Is green, yes.
Fine. When can I go home?
You can't. I found the light.
light appears.
Good grief! Is this really the interior of a flying saucer?
Certainly is. What do you think?
Well, it's a bit squalid, isn't it?
What did you expect?
Oh, I don't know. Gleaming control panels, flashing lights, computer screens. Not old mattresses.
Oh, these are the Dintrasi sleeping quarters.
I thought you said they were called Bogans or something.
The Vogans run the ship. The Dintrasi are the cooks. They let us on board.
I'm confused.
Here, take a look at this.
What is it?
It's the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It's sort of an electronic book. It'll tell you everything you want to know. That's its job.
I like the cover. Don't panic. It's the first helpful or intelligible thing anybody's said to me all day.
Oh, that's why it sells so well. Here, press this button and the screen will give you the index. You've got several million entries. Fast wind through the index to V. There you are. Vogon constructor fleets. Enter that code on the tabulator and listen.
Here's what you do if you won't get a lift from the Vogon. Forget it! They're one of the most unpleasant races in the galaxy. Not actually evil, but bad-tempered, bureaucratic, officious, and callous. They wouldn't even lift a finger to save their own grandmothers from the ravenous butter beast of Trawl without orders signed in. Triplicate, sent in, sent back, queried, lost, found, subjected to public inquiry, lost again, and finally burned in soft beat for 3 months and recycled as firefighters. The best way to get a drink out of a Vogon is stick your finger down his throat. And the best way to irritate him is to feed his grandmother to the ravenous bloodbladder beast of Troll.
What a strange book. How did we get a lift then?
Well, that's the point. It's out of date now. I'm doing the field research for the new revised edition of the guide. So, for instance, I will have to include a revision pointing out that since the Vogons have made so much money being professionally unpleasant, they can now afford to employ Dintrasi cooks, which gives us a rather useful little loophole.
Who are the Dintrasi?
The best cooks and the best drink mixers, and if they don't give you a wet slap about anything else. And they will always help hitchhikers on board, partly because they like the company, but mostly because it annoys the Vogons, which is exactly the sort of thing you need to know if you're an impoverished hitchhiker trying to see the marvels of the galaxy for less than $30 Altarian a day. That's my job. Fun, isn't it?
It's amazing.
Unfortunately, I got stuck on Earth for rather longer than I intended. I came for a week and was stranded for 15 years.
But how did you get there in the first place?
Oh, easy. I got a lift with a teaser. You don't know what a teaser is, do you? Well, I'll tell you. Teasers are usually rich kids with nothing to do. They cruise around looking for planets which haven't made interstellar contact and buzz them.
Buzz them.
Yeah, they find some isolated spot with very few people around, then land right by some poor unsuspecting soul who no one's ever going to believe, and then strut up and down in front of them wearing silly antennae on their head and making beep beep noises. Rather childish, really. It's been disintegrated.
Has it?
Yes, it just boiled away into space.
Look, I'm a bit upset about that.
Yes, I can understand.
So what do I do?
You come along with me and enjoy yourself. You'll need to have this fish in your ear.
I beg your pardon. What the devil's that?
Listen, it might be important.
What?
It's the Vogon captain making an announcement on the PA.
But I can't speak
You don't need to. Just put that little fish in your ear. Come on, it's only a little one.
With a slurping noise, the babblefish slides into Arthur's ear.
No, Betica should have a good time. Message repeat. This is your captain speaking. So stop what you are doing and pay attention. First of all, I see from our instrument that we have a couple of hitchhikers aboard our ship. Hello, wherever you are. I just want to make it totally clear that you are not at all welcome. I worked hard to get where I am today, and I didn't become captain of the Vogon constructor ship simply so that I could turn it into a taxi service for degenerate freeloaders. I have sent out a search party. As soon as I find you, I will put you off the ship. If you're very lucky, I might read you one of my poetry first. Secondly, we are about to jump into hyperspace for the journey to the Barnard Star. On arrival, we will stay in the dock for a 72-hour refit. And no one's to leave the ship during that time. I repeat, all planet leave is cancelled. I just had an unhappy love affair, and I don't see why anyone else should have a good time either. Message ends.
Charming, these Vogons. I wish I had a daughter so I could forbid her to marry one.
You wouldn't need to. They've got about as much sex appeal as a road accident. And you better be prepared for it to jump into hyperspace. It's unpleasantly like being drunk.
Well, what's so unpleasant about being drunk?
You ask a glass of water.
For it.
Yes?
What's this fish doing in my ear?
Translating for you. Look under Babel Fish in the book. A hologram will appear and you can scroll it and read it. Book.
Or read.
Ooh, shh.
What's happening?
Ooh. We're going into hyperspace.
I'll never be cruel to a gin and tonic ever again.
As the whooshing noise increases, we hear it under tick, 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 tick. The bubblefish is small, yellow, leech-like, and probably the oddest thing in the universe. It feeds on brainwave energy, absorbing all unconscious frequencies, and then excreting telepathically a matrix formed from the conscious frequencies and nerve signals picked up from the speech centers of the brain. The practical upshot of which that if you stick one in your ear, you can instantly understand anything said to you in any form of language. The speech you hear decodes the brainwave matrix. Now it is such a bizarrely improbable coincidence that anything so mind-boggling useful could evolve purely by chance that some thinkers have chosen to see it as the final clinching proof of the non-existence of God. The argument goes something like this. I refuse to prove that I exist, says God, for proof denies faith, and without faith I am nothing. But, said man, the bubblefish is a dead giveaway, isn't it? It proves you exist, and so therefore you don't. QED. Oh dear, says God, I hadn't thought of that, and promptly vanished in a puff of logic. Oh, that was easy, said man, and for an encore he proves that black is white and gets killed on the next zebra crossing. Most leading theologians claim that this argument is a load of dingo's kidneys. But that didn't stop Udian Kapulfit from making a small fortune when he used it as the central theme of the best-selling book. Well, that's about wraps it up for God. Meanwhile, the poor babblefish, by effectively removing all barriers to communication between different cultures and races, has caused more and bloodier wars than anything else in the history of creation.
What an extraordinary book.
Help me write the new edition.
No, I want to go back to Earth again, I'm afraid. Or its nearest equivalent.
You're turning down 100 billion new worlds to explore.
Did you get much useful material on Earth?
I was able to extend the entry, yes.
Well, let's see what it says on this edition then.
Okay, let's
see. Earth. There's the screen. It doesn't seem to have an entry.
Yes, it does. See, right there down at the bottom.
Still no entry. Oh, you gotta help me out with this then.
Okay.
It's frozen up. Books.
Here
we are.
Oh, there's the screen. What? It doesn't seem... Yes, it does. See, right at the bottom of the screen, just under Eccentrica Galumbus, the triple-breasted whore of Erotican 6.
Yes, that's right. Oh yes, harmless. Is that all you got to say about Earth? Harmless? One word, harmless. What the hell's that supposed to mean?
Well, there are 100 billion stars in the galaxy and a limited amount of space in the book. And no one knew much about Earth, of course.
Well, I hope you've managed to rectify that a little.
Yeah, I transmitted a new entry off to the editor. He had to trim a bit, but it's still an improvement.
What does this say now?
Mostly harmless.
Mostly harmless. Mostly harmless!
Well, that's the way it is. We're on a different scale now.
Okay, Ford, I'm with you. I'm bloody well coming with you. Where are we now?
Not far from Bernard's Star. It's a beautiful place in a sort of hyperspace junction. You can get virtually anywhere from there. That is assuming that we actually get there.
What's that?
Well, if we're lucky, it's just the Vogons coming to throw us off into space.
And if we're unlucky?
If we're unlucky, the captain might want to read us some of his poetry first.
Bang!
Vogon Poetry is, of course, the third worst in the universe. The second worst is of the Osgoths of Tria. During a recitation by their poet master Grunthos the Flatulent, green putty I found in my armpit one midsummer morning. 4 of his audience died of internal hemorrhaging, and the president of the Mid-Galactical Arts Nobbling Council survived by gnawing one of his own legs off. Grunthos was reported to have been disappointed by the poem's reception and was about to embark on a reading of his 12-book epic entitled My Favorite Bath Time Gurgles, when his own major intestine, in desperate attempt to save sentient life, leapt straight up through his neck and throttled his brain. The very worst poetry of all perished along with its creator, Paul and Nancy Millstone Jennings of Greenbridge, and in the destruction of the planet Earth. Vogon Poetry is mild by comparison, and when the Vogon captain began to read, it provoked this reaction from the Ford Perfect. Ow. And this from Arthur Dent. Okay, just go.
Oh, Freddle grunt fugly. Thy micturations are to me as purtled gabble blotted in a galurgid bee. Goob, I implore thee, and my funting turling dromes, and hoopsly drag 'em in the crinkle bindle wordles. For otherwise I will rend thee in the gobble warts with my blurgle crunchins. See if I don't. So, earthlings, I present you with a simple choice. I was going to throw you straight out into the empty blackness of space to die horribly and slowly. But there is one way, one simple way in which you may save yourselves. Think very carefully, for you hold your very lives in your hands. Now choose, either die in the vacuum of space, or tell me how good you thought my poem was.
Will our heroes survive this terrible ordeal? Can they win through with their integrity unscathed? Can they escape without completely compromising their honor and artistic judgment? Tune in next week for the next exciting installment of The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy.